Welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We're back to our usual, regularly scheduled programs on this channel, and I think we're about to go to trial. I'm assuming. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Edgeworth is here again. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. Of course. I see. Very well, I would like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well, I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Great. Is he going to be helpful to us? Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court? Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it is important to grasp the layout of the studios. See? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. This is important to remember. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. Well, I hope she's not responsible. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Okay. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was canceled. Yeah, grim for sure. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. Dark. That's the case, in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to the whole thing again? Skip it. I've heard it. I think I can probably remember that. Hopefully. So the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval. Samurai spear. This spear was found stuck in the chest of the victim. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call this security officer to the stand. But the thing is, she saw the costume, and it didn't look like it fit. So, whatever her testimony is, I'm definitely going to press that, like, immediately. Will the witness declare her name? Oh, what voice did I do for her? It's been a while. My, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Your name, please. Oh, dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please. Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witness to say their names. Wendy Oldbag, dearie. Your last name is Oldbag? So just call me Grandma. It's practically my name. So even when I was young, I was an Oldbag. Still, how the other children would make believe it, but there was this boy that captained the chess. He called me an Oldbag, well, because I... Okay. Why are you objecting? I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony. Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, see, I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you? You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one old bag. Alright, we're definitely going to press her on the fact that she doesn't know who was in the costume. She just saw the costume. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since this morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because a certain man walked right by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, let's go press her at the fact that she thought it was Will. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, but we could also present the photo. Should I present the photo? Because that would make it more, because if I press her, she could just be like, yes, so of course it was him. Okay, let's try. Let me get this straight, Oldbag. Miss Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. You can have it. It's not him. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo-Old Tokyo. Miss Oldbag. Is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course! Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right? No, they can't. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. Gotcha. I know that. I wasn't born yesterday. No one in this court is accusing you of that, Miss Witness. He's having trouble calling her Oldbag, apparently. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. Oh, great. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised? The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? Everyone should be ashamed, all of you. It's their job. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Wow, old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof, then. Yes, let's. Alright. Let's hear it. I never saw anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now, look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy? So he had a sprained ankle. Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. What do I press? I don't really know. Let's think about it. Let's try and use some whatever little brain power we have. Okay, well, which one did he break? He broke a prop? Sure did. His own samurai spear. His samurai spear, the murder weapon? Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it. This strikes me as a significant detail. I'd better write this down in the court record. Yeah, I mean, it's broken. It was mended with duct tape, so that's curious. Actually, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. You can see he's dragging his leg. That's how it was. I don't know. Okay. She saw him trip and fall, but wouldn't she be in the... Well, she mended it too. Why were you there? Trip and fall? Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped him make it better for him, of course. You helped make it better? I kissed it where it hurt. Let's just skip over that part, shall we? She's weird. Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue your testimony. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. So Powers trip and fall. I don't know. I'm thinking backwards is better because the end... I feel like we've already clarified that. I never say anything I don't mean. I mean, should I press, like, every detail? Just to make sure? Who was present at the run-through? Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's the Steel Samurai, then poor old Hammer, the evil magistrate, and me. And what exactly were you doing? Observing. Just observing. What about the assistant? Oh, she was off moving backdrops around and such. So she didn't see the run-through then. Okay. I don't know. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? What? But I didn't press everything. I didn't find anything out. Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is, where is this steel samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes. And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? Of course I want to object. Why wouldn't I not? Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows the steel samurai. Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also. Gotcha. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? There's more testimony? No need to ask twice. Let's see. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. That's it? So, if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be this steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. And do what? I remember photo number 2. So where's photo number 1? Oldbag. Gotcha. Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sir, Sonny. So whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture? And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th? Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end where it says photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Gotcha! Either she deleted it or someone got onto her computer and deleted it. Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I wanted to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not 1 but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there is only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself. Eh? Me? You watch your mouth, whippersnapper! Gotcha. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes, that's what it would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help. Huh? Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper? Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? Ah, that's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate? Someone other than the steel samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. Every time, man. Okay, does it change? Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Great! Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny, I've only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Well, I'd say this was a term for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. Let's see. Well, we have to press this because what the heck did you throw out? Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They were always hanging about. One was there that day. Wait a second. Didn't you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. Okay. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside, and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain. I told you they were freaks. Oh, and... They're kids. Children. Whippersnappers. Kids? So, on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? This is not helpful to us. Great. Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day. One was the Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade. Oh yes, well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade? I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear. Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy. Right, as I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there, that makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information, and no forgetting vital information this time. True. Great, now I don't know what to do. Mr. Powers? Yes? Tell me straight, were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio, I was sleeping, honest. So, who is the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a Steel Samurai. Oh my gosh, that's a tongue twister. Steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. Aw, you're the only likely suspect right now. Nick? What are we gonna do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right! And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. Oh jeez. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. We can do it. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that. Oh, I'm sorry. We can do it. We'll pin it on the old lady. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. Another person who went to the studio was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still only no one else that could have committed the crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Let's see. Order. Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Oh no. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who is this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed the murder? The assistant girl, the grade school boy, the security lady. I don't think it's the grade school boy, just because we don't have enough information to make that claim. But I'm assuming the security lady is a good choice because she's one of the people who was there. She knew the spear was broken. She knew his ankle was messed up, so she would know to limp like that in the photo, you know. And I don't really know if we can say that about the assistant girl yet, just because we don't really have a lot of information on her. So, the security lady. It was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag. What? Whippersnapper? Is this true, Oldbag? Oldbag! That's Miss Oldbag to you! Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume, then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right here, Sherlock Holmes too, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth bounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way? We need to press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers the suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Mrs. Oldbag's actions on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? I don't know. You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy. The one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10-second stops. Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Or is it to be nice to the kids and mean to your eldest day? Whippersnapper. I have proof. Proof? Indeed. Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder? Oh, jeez. You have to have a card. You have to have a key card. Right? Yeah. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studios have a card key? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The Windbag. Speechless. This has got to be a first. Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy... What was her name? Something Oldbag, Your Honor. Nobody likes this lady. Then the prosecution will look further into this, Oldbag, before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned. Oh, yay. Wait a second. Oh. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me. I'm talking. This is new music. I don't know if I've heard this yet. Oh, great. Stop the presses. The Windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about. Not to talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify. Really great. Another testimony from this old lady. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said that they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me not to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Interesting. Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. Bruh. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the Oldbag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. You're not making yourself very likable to the court. Okay, they wanted her to keep quiet. Well, obviously we have to press this. Who are the people? Who are these people? Well, the director and the producer for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course. Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was fallen over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination? I think I've already asked all my questions, but let's just take a break. I think that's all we need to know from her, right? I'm afraid not. I'm afraid to do this, but also I've been recording this episode longer than most of the other episodes, so let's take a break. Your Honor, we have learned that there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the prosecutor and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. True. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. Poor Edgeworth. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned, and this episode is adjourned as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I guess we gotta, well, I'll do this part. I thought the day was over. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Aw, really? It's nothing. Oh, or should I... What? We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and the producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So, Nick, have we figured out just who it was in that Steel Samurai costume? Could it really have been Old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor Old Windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. True. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right! We'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Oh, poor man. Okay, now it's real... Okay, there we go. I always need to wait for the to be continued before I end. Well, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!